Just as a show of hands, how many people came here tonight just to see something free and that they plan on buying nothing whatsoever? Really? The schmuck in the front with all the with the comments and the guy with the. I'm not gonna. That guy looks like he could beat me. I'm not gonna harass him. It's all right. Okay. Is there? Do you guys have any questions? Should we open the floor to questions? Are you going to buy something? I'm not asking you a question if you're going to buy anything.
I sent my sister a picture of the therapist analyzing a little bird, and the bird says, my mother,
Right.
So she said, who is this guy? Who is that? So I sent her your website, and she's like really blown away by it. So you have
cool.
another admirer on the planet.
Can you guys in the back hear that question?
No.
Not really a question, it's just a comment.
He was saying that he was asking me if I was happily married and if I'd ever considered a relationship with an older man. Actually, this spirit of diversity is one of the things I like most about the Bay Area, and I don't mean to shame you, but it's not that you're not attractive, though you're not. But it's that my wife is sitting right back there, and yeah. No, I'm straight but not narrow. Straight but not narrow. I'm not even bi-curious. He's a nice guy, this guy up front. Cheap, but a nice guy. And he was actually saying that he liked a cartoon that he liked. Your mother, did you say, or a friend of yours, or who was it? Your sister.
My sister.
His sister liked a cartoon of mine. That whole story was about his sister liked a cartoon of mine. But
And promoted your website.
and she promoted my website, so that's nice. The cartoon is actually a fun cartoon. I like this cartoon too. It's actually a little offbeat even for me, but it's a typical psychiatrist couch situation. Psychiatrist office, psychiatrist couch, psychiatrist sitting in a chair, taking notes, right? But on the couch is a little tiny bird, like a robin or something, just sitting on its back, feet up in the air, looking up at the ceiling. And the bird says, "My mother used to puke in my mouth." You're smoking here, right? What? You can smoke in here, can't you? Chickens. All right, I'll wait till I go outside. Any other questions, real quick? No, you had
no
enough.
question about your veganism.
About my veganism?
I heard that you were acknowledged by the animal rights groups, and I'm wondering how that influences your artwork, if it does.
Okay. So he was just asking about my animal rights stance and if it influences my artwork and that kind of stuff. And it does. When you have to draw 365 jokes, when you have to come up with 365 ideas a year for 23 years now, everything that you think, read, hear, or believe eventually finds its way into a cartoon somehow because you're always looking for ideas. So yeah, when I did become an animal rights guy a little over 6 years ago, and stopped buying animal products, which then makes you a vegan, or makes you a vegan, depending on whether you want to use that as an animal. Okay. So now, and then I started doing cartoons about animal rights stuff, and then the animal rights community, everybody from PETA to Humane Society to little small local goat and sheep rescue groups, and just everybody, cat and dog people, everybody. Then people started writing to me saying, "Hey, you're saying this stuff. We believe in a national cartoon. That's very cool. Would you come and speak to our group, and will you come and do a thing and a deal and something else and another thing?" And so I got kind of hooked up with all those people that way. But it was CHNW is the one who first sort of introduced me to that whole world. Because I was the kind of guy that considered myself compassionate to animals. I would never hurt an animal personally, but I didn't really think about how it related to my food, clothes I was wearing, the furniture I was sitting on, any of that other stuff. And so when she and I met and first started dating, she knew all that stuff, and she wasn't really preaching, but I was curious. So I would ask questions about it, she would answer. She had a lot of pamphlets around and stuff. A lot of pamphlets. Pamplema. All right. Now you had a question, is that correct?
Yeah. I was wondering if you had gotten into any trouble with DC Comics over the name Bizarro.
No, yeah, people ask me that. have I gotten in any trouble from DC Comics over the name Bizarro? And apparently, you have to. I guess it's no. I haven't. Is the short answer. The long answer is I don't think you can trademark a name specifically or a word. They have to trademark it or something, which they didn't do. Honest to God, I wouldn't have chosen it. I was a viewer of comic books, but I never read them. I didn't like reading when I was a kid. I love to read now, but as a kid I didn't like to read. But I loved the art, and so I would buy comic books and just look at the pictures. I had never heard of Bizarro. It was just a word that maybe I had heard. It's easy. It's bizarre. You add an O to it. It rhymes with my last name. I picked it for my cartoon strip. The editors liked it, so it and it wasn't until after it started getting published that people started asking me, is this is some association with the cartoon, with the Bizarro world in Superman? And what is that? I didn't even know. I kind of wouldn't have picked it because it does have a certain, like it's just kind of a little too close to plagiarism, and that always bothers me. So I would have picked something else, like Weirdo. Or maybe Unusual-o. Some of my cartoons are not that weird. Then there was somebody way in the back that had a hand up. You.
What's your favorite therapist cartoon you've done?
My favorite therapist cartoon is probably the bird one.
Oh, no.
No? Okay. Maybe you should tell me.
It would have to be the one with the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, what was that one? That was the, yeah, that's definitely the one that was my favorite. now that you mention it, and it was there was a Grim Reaper,
Yeah.
and he was at the therapist.
Yeah.
Am I right so far? And he
Yeah,
was,
he says...
he was on, no wait, let me get it.
Okay.
Okay, so it was a regular therapist, and then the Grim Reaper was the patient.
Yeah.
He probably had like a robe. I remember he had a robe and a sickle. No, a scythe actually. A sickle is a handheld. A scythe is the one with the long stick. And he had a face like a skeleton, as I recall. Yeah, that was my favorite. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, can you remember exactly what I said on that cartoon?
Yeah. The psychiatrist says, "What do you mean this is our last session?"
That was a good one. Thank you for bringing that up. Honestly, thank you for remembering that because I didn't remember. I remember drawing it, but I couldn't remember the punchline. So there you go. You in the back there, sir.
Yeah, in your pirate book, you repeated one of the cartoons. You drew it twice. And I was wondering, was it that you didn't think people got to do it the first time, or were you just...
Yeah, that's actually a. Okay, so what happened was there's one cartoon that appears twice in that book, but they're actually different formats. The reason is I drew it as I think I drew it as a Sunday comic first, which is horizontal shaped, as you guys in this area probably know. And then years later, I liked the joke, and on very rare occasions when things are, when the world is conspiring against me and I absolutely can't make a deadline, I'll go way back 12 or 15 years and snatch a cartoon and redo it. Sometimes I'll redraw it, sometimes I'll just recrop it or whatever. And so that was a Sunday cartoon originally. Now I remember why I did this. That's why I chose it, because it was a good gag. It was a Sunday comic, and it was way back early in my career when I didn't have very many Sunday clients. So I knew that out of the 250 markets that have my cartoon now, only probably 11 of those markets ever printed that joke. So I figured this is a great joke to reprint. So I reprinted it. Now, when I turned those cartoons in for the book, I explained to them, here it is in 2 formats. Use whichever one you think is best, and they used them both on separate. I honestly think it was a mistake on their part. I think they just, they have some intern with scissors and a glue stick in the back room, and their job is to cut cartoons out and stick them on a page. And I think they weren't paying any attention. And it's in there twice. There you go.